So I was walking down the street. My brother Howard runs up to me and says, "Yo, Ron, you want to be in this movie?" And I was just like, "Nah, I'm good." Like, my brother has always been that kid that kind of always been in the limelight. And when Howard started writing for Zoo, I was like, whatever. Then he started hanging out, at Supreme. I was like, whatever. But then when the movie came out, that's when everything sunk in.
One day in Washington Square Park, Harmony comes running up to me with this book, and he's like, "I met one of my heroes," and he hands me Tulsa by Larry Clark, and I've never seen it in my life. And I looked at these pictures and was like, oh my God, this is the guy who's been taking photos of all the skaters.
And right here in Washington Square Park was where we first started hanging out with Larry Clark, and he was always taking photographs, and shortly after he started hanging out with us, he said he was gonna make this movie called Kids, and it was about us.
Yeah, Larry thought he was gonna be that big. Larry Clark, he's like this old guy. He's totally down to earth, this guy. Yeah. When I first met Larry Clark, I thought he was a fucking pervert, to tell you the truth.
I think he was probably one of the only elders who really had a good recognizing position of what was actually happening with this new group of youth coming in,
How old are you, honey?
17.
How many people have you had vaginal intercourse with?
Altogether?
So they were scouting for locations, which they ended up shooting, but they saw me on my stoop. I'm like, Dad, because obviously there's these weird guys who are coming up to me and asking me to be on film with them. It's like, I don't know about those. I remember having a crush on Justin when we had done the movie. In the same way like Harold, there was something particularly interesting about their energy, but it also is because there was a kind of danger element there.
Outside of Leo Fitzpatrick's character, Kids was a documentary on our lives. It was crazy because it was kind of like a fucking ZooYork commercial. I went to the store to go steal a beer one day, and the guy caught me automatically. He was like, "Yo, take the shit out your leg, man." I saw the movie. We all up on it. Now get the fuck out of my store.
We could never have fathomed that all these things that were like our little things became mainstream.
We inhabited the spaces that mainstreamers didn't.
If you were a rapper in New York City, on Friday nights you were going to trip at Mars.
Skating was like kind of orbit away from your own neighborhood and your own family.
It's kind of what we thought, we were just outsiders.
Myself, as a skateboarder from New York City, hip-hop was always a part of that, and it was a
oppressed kind of situations we was forced to make.
That's the hybrid that kind of wound up making all of this happen, was just like...
Can't do that shit at West Coast, you know what I'm saying?
Supreme opened, and it was like a place for everyone to go and chill and hang out.
Never in my life would I have thought that it would have turned into like this super mega global brand.
Streetwear and hip hop and skateboarding kind of like all morphing into one thing.
They seriously put New York onto boards.
We just growing longer, and let's just take over this whole shit.
It's that idea of capturing New York at that moment, because it really was kind of the last.
Sunrise in my eyes, time flies.